old fucking news, and I'm looking at the obituaries page, and I find an obituary for a cat named Ed Hansen, which I thought was kind of amusing. You know, in as much as he's dead, that's not the funny part. But writer, director, and editor Ed Hansen died December 16th of bladder cancer in Antioch. He was 68. Minnesota native, started his career in advertising, winning several international awards. He went on to direct Taking It Off, Taking It All Off, and Taking It Off Out West, as well as the Bikini Car Wash Company. That's a body of work right there.
That's fantastic.
That's a body of fucking work. 68 years old, and he made a bunch of titty pictures.
He made a trilogy.
He did of the Taking It Off movies, but nobody talks about him anymore. I mean, I've never even heard of these movies until right now. I mean,
he's never talked about it. Nobody talked about it until right now.
That was his
legacy.
That was his legacy, and like nobody really celebrates or heralds the dude. So I'm saying, go check out Ed Hansen's
Taking It Off,
Taking It All Off, and Taking It Off Out West. I can't. My wife is a big fan of J.K. Rowling, not just because the books are imaginative and shit, but she's a woman, so of course my wife likes that, and she's a successful woman. But also because like she was married, had a kid, and then the husband left her, and she was raising the kid by herself and kind of broke, and then she turned into a fucking billionaire, which is like an awfully wonderful fuck you to the dude who was like, "You're not worth it." And then years later, it's like,
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm fucking ain't going, JK. and then she turns into a multi-fucking millionaire, billionaire, or whatever, and that dude's just like, why didn't I hang in there?
Yeah,
why didn't I fucking... When she was talking Muggles, I thought she was fucking dumb. Now, I'm dumb.
Now I'm dumb. I'm the Muggle.
One of the discarded openings for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was, we went with showing them as babies and then growing them into adults through a very fucking tricky dissolve.
Yeah.
But one of the ones I was going to go with instead was since Monmouth County, where Leonardo is, and my area of New Jersey, Monmouth County, big Revolutionary War site. A lot of Washington slept here places all around that joint, and many battles. Battle of Monmouth. Molly Pitcher, they named a hotel after her in Red Bank, but she was a chick who brought water to fucking soldiers and shit like that. I was going to do their origins in the Revolutionary War period, where like they were just two fucking really bad soldiers who couldn't really fight, and they were just like their commander, their sergeant, whatever, was just like, look, you have to protect this hill. Like, you're staying here. Don't move. Watch the hill. And so it dissolved from...
It's like indoctrinated.
Pretty much. So they just...
their DNA.
They never left that spot, essentially. All their ancestors kind of gave birth and watched the same place, and eventually Quick Stop was built there. I kind of like what we went with instead. She tossed it out and shit. I think she just bounced that shit.
Maybe she recycled it.
She might have. Maybe she was green. Her mother was the one that was like,
I remember
send me that note, gave me that note and shit like that when I was breaking up with her daughter. Remember, her mother was one of those mothers way too involved with her daughter's life, kind of thing. And like we'd broken up, and she wrote me this letter, and I still have the letter somewhere, but it was just like, one day, Kevin, you'll be walking alone in the snow, thinking of Amy. And a lot of people who I've mentioned Amy to will go like, "Oh, is she chasing Amy?" No, I just like the name. It just kind of rhymed. Yeah. Kind of had a nice little alliterative pattern to it, even though it wasn't strictly alliteration. But it was so weird to be like, you're gonna be walking alone in the snow, saying that to like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And you could say it to most 18-year-olds and be like, fuck you, whore. But I was obviously the kind of kid who was a little more sensitive and took shit like that to heart, where I was like, maybe I will be walking alone in the snow. Maybe I should rethink this fucking breakup. But she also, when we finally, like when it was all done and finished, she I was talking to Amy in the front yard about something, and her mom came home from shopping or something, and she's like, "Are you leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was just about to head out." She's like, wait here, I'll be back in a minute." She went inside, came back, and she handed me this folded up piece of paper, and she said, put it in my hand. She goes, "Don't open it now, but if I'm wrong, find me, and I'll eat that piece of paper." And I was like, all right, very strange. So I get in the car and I leave, and I get down the block and I open it up, and it was this piece of paper that said, Kevin Smith will never be a famous writer, but I do wish him luck. And it was written on graph paper, and it was dated. what a fucked up thing to like give to a kid. I mean, granted, I wasn't a kid, but what a weird fucking thing to give to somebody. And like, you know, she knew I wanted to write. I didn't know that I wanted to make movies at that point, but I liked writing and I wanted to make a living writing somehow.
Yeah.
Such a bizarre thing to fucking give.
So weird. I mean, like, first of all, it's just like the idea that like if you're gonna be a parent, it's just like your kids are gonna like date and break up and all that shit's gonna happen, and the idea that just like you're gonna go after somebody and suddenly be like in
You're a loser.
yeah, like in her honor, you're just gonna dress the person down and be
if
like,
I'm such
you're
a
gonna be
loser,
alone in the snow.
Yeah,
and,
but if I'm such a loser, like, wouldn't you want me to not be going out with your daughter? Like, wouldn't it behoove you to be like
if all those things are gonna come to pass, it's just like you should be like, thanks for leaving.
totally, like, get out of her life because she deserves to be with a famous writer. You will never be a famous writer.
That is really strange.
She was very involved and overly involved in her daughter's life. I think it had a lot to do with the fact she was an only child, number one. Number two, she was divorced from Amy's dad, and she was remarried to a guy who I thought was a really nice guy, very low-key dude. She was a very dominating figure. Not a bad woman by any stretch of the imagination. The weird thing about her, though, was she something wrong with her sinuses, and I guess your sinuses are connected to your sense of taste for some reason. So she couldn't taste food at all.
Huh.
She had no sense of taste,
which
was weird. Like, could you imagine? What a great way to go through life, because you could probably eat shit that you don't like and be like,
you
all
can
right.
eat anything.
Yeah, you could eat
You
cabbage. You can eat shit and just, well, you probably wouldn't want to, but like for me, that'd be ideal. You could, and you might make you a little sick, or a lot sick. But like me, I'm a big taste eater, and I couldn't fucking get my head around eating stewed cabbage or fucking spinach or any vegetable. But if I had no sense of taste, I'd be like, pile on, man. I don't give a fuck.
It's like her superhero power.
Yeah, her superpower was a complete lack of taste. She was a very strange woman.
When you got that note, were you did you find it like it got you going? Were you just like, I'm gonna fucking make her eat that fucking piece of paper?
I kept the note. I still have it. Put it in a little frame. Kept it on my desk.
And did you use it like in moments where you're just like you felt you were gonna give up?
Never. It was never like a source of inspiration in terms of like.
It was more just like, in case this
like,
happens.
I want to have this handy. And years later, she got in touch with me via email, and she kind of had a falling out with her daughter or something. But very nice emails, and like, I'm very proud of you and surprised and happy for you and blah blah blah. It's all great. And I waited about 2 emails in before I was like, do you remember giving me a note that said that I would never be a famous writer and I should find you and make you eat this? Like, I don't want you to eat it because I like having it, but do you remember that? And she was like, yeah, well, that was a weird time. Got busted by the cop first night that I ever had my finger in a chick's ass. Fucking making out, eating her out, pinky up the ass.
For that?
I don't know, man, but the cop was really like, windows steamed up, and all of a sudden we didn't hear the car pulling up, and all we heard was the knock on the glass and the fucking flashlights in our face and my finger full of poo, and having to be like, all right, we're moving, and hoping we didn't get in trouble and shit like that. It's been a while when because Walter was not like a dude that dated a lot, but when he got involved with Debbie, he spent a lot of time with her. And I remember me and Brian Johnson, Ned Hapstack, stalking Walter one night. He was over at Debbie's house, and like they were in a room in their dining room, but we could see through the windows and shit. Yeah. So we were just watching him interact with Debbie because it was weird to see Walter interacting with a girl. And it looked like they were doing homework. I think maybe she was taking some college courses. She wound up being a teacher, so maybe she was taking some teaching classes or something like that. And he was sitting there with her, holding her hand, and then all of a sudden, and you can't hear anything, right? And you can't hear what's going on, but you could just see it because the curtains are open and the lights on in the room. It's dark outside, so it's like, fishbowl kind of scenario. Yeah. And we see him, like, he stands her up, and they start slow dancing. And we were just like, what a fucking faggot. Look at that faggot with a girl. It was, and meanwhile, the 3 of us are outside like fucking total faggots. But and then we fucking threw rocks at the window until we caught his attention and shit. And then wrote his ass about slow dancing with his lady. Caught him in the act of being himself.
How old were you then? Were you still in school or were you out of school?
Oh, I was 22. Around then. 21, 22 years old. But still, funny to see. Did you ever make out with a chick with inverted nipples?
I have not had that experience either.
Amy had inverted nipples, so when they got hard, they didn't go out; they went in. It was the strangest thing I ever saw. Yeah.
I would be like, that might take me out of the sex thing because I might be like staring at him.
Well, I mean, she was kind of, I remember having the sit-down discussion with her one day where she was just like, I just have to tell you I have, she really prepped me for it. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And, who was I to judge? I'm like, look, I'm fat. I had sat her down. I was like, I got to tell you, I'm kind of fat. But she did have these concave nipples instead of convex.
Wow, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it was weird. Like you could pool water in it.
You could put little
but when they were not
shots.
hard, they were normal looking nipples. But instead of going out, they went in.
Huh?
Strange.
Could you induce them out?
You could like kind of suck them out, but they would kind of
go back in.
It's just the way her body worked, I guess.
That's exciting.
It was kind of different, man. I never met anybody with inverted nipples before or since.